The lady in the fridge, also known as the Stockton Jane Doe, identified as Amanda Schumann-Deza. In March of 1995, a man was out looking for recyclable objects and change. He was mainly scoping the area for coins as well as cans, things that he could recycle in an area 10 miles away from Stockton, California. Instead, he found the gold 1983 Frigidaire refrigerator pictured here. It had been shoved down into a canal. It wasn't easy to get to, but he managed, and he found that it had been tied shut with a rope and dumped into the levee. The treasure hunters would then cut through the rope and open the fridge. They were at first met with a waterbed quilt and a sleeping bag, but then inside they found a woman, along with a lot of water. It's a little shocking how many people are found in freezers and refrigerators. An examination of the woman pointed to blunt force trauma to her head, likely in August of 1994 to February of 1995, meaning she'd been there for 1 month to 6 months before she was found, suggesting she was 5'5" and 24 to 45 years old. She had no tattoos or scars that they could tell, and her nails had been freshly manicured. It was discovered that someone had gagged her with a sock and bound her with electrical tape. Her teeth were in good condition. She didn't appear to be somebody who was likely a transient. So it seems safe to assume that some family member somewhere was missing her, and that someone might come forward. The authorities detailed a white blanket and a blue blanket and a Hillary brand sleeping bag, yet nobody came forward. Additionally, she appeared to be married or perhaps divorced, as she was wearing a 1-carat diamond ring on her right ring finger. She was also perhaps of some means, as she had gorilla hiking boots on. Those cost $120 in 1996, which is about $379 in today's currency. There also appeared to be some pieces of jewelry and some leather that appeared to be part of a charm necklace with large ornaments. Although they couldn't name her, they were able to link all of the items to local origin, believing they came from Richmond, Antioch, Pittsburgh, Oakley, and Brentwood, which is all relatively close. Someone had originally packed her with unopened bags of ice from Glacier Ice Company, which was produced in Fremont and traced to the East Bay. Miniature milk cartons were found inside, which were the kind you find in schools. The refrigerator itself was manufactured in Pennsylvania and sold in Oakland. So she, or whomever did this to her, was from the area, if not both. It would take genetic genealogy to eventually find her name. They were able to use the DNA profile to locate her mother, eventually identifying her as Amanda Schumann-Deza. Amanda was 30 when someone took her life. Her family didn't report her missing because they had no idea where she was. They had believed her to be out there living her life somewhere, and were completely shocked by the news that all that time she had been gone. After they gave their DNA, there was a match to both mother and child. The sheriff's department would give this statement: Amanda is a daughter, she's a sister, she's a mother, she's a friend. We're missing several pieces to the years prior to her disappearance and her death, and we hope you will recognize Amanda and reach out to us. They would learn that Amanda had separated from her husband, and the two had 3 young children. Amanda was last seen at an apartment complex in Napa with a man they believe she met at a rehabilitation facility. The daughter, who would eventually give her DNA to identify her mother, would say that she was 3 and had been removed from her mother's home. She knew nothing of what had happened to her mother, and her only memories were of her mother being sweet and loving. In all of the years after this, she would always have a clear feeling of having been loved by her mother. The now 34-year-old woman's only memory was playing in the sand with her mom. She would say, "I've lived my whole life just not knowing. She was gone and I never knew why. I thought that she had just left us. I felt left." There isn't a lot of information about her life before. She doesn't know exactly why she or her siblings were removed from their mother's care. The 3 kids were eventually placed in the same foster home, and they were adopted together. The kids had a good life. It was a happy ending compared to what might have happened. Her daughter would say she believes her mom did the best that she could. She would always feel her mom loved her, saying it was like her mom got lost. She doesn't believe her mother had the support that she needed to thrive. Nothing is said about the husband and father of the children. If it's known, it was not shared in the articles that I found. Her daughter did say she was saddened by the unfairness of it all, that it was unjust in the brutal way her life was taken. There's a $10,000 reward in this case, in hopes that it will lead to whoever did this. They need people who knew Amanda to come forward. They believe that Amanda lived in Napa, Oakley, and the California Delta after she was separated from her family. Because her daughter is 34 and was 3 when she was taken from her mom's home, that means roughly 2 to 3 years are unaccounted for. So it's important that anyone who knew Amanda come forward. Amanda Lynn Schumann-Deza went unidentified for 27 years. Had she lived, she would be 56 years old today. She was found 85 miles away from where she went missing. Before I start this video, I just want to say thank you to all of you who have consistently commented on the videos here. It's the engagement that makes a huge difference, and the channel finally has 10,000 subscribers, which took about 2 years and 200 videos to reach, so I want to thank everybody. The Eel River John Doe, identified as Jeffery Todd Sydow. This story begins in March of 1998 in Lolita, California. A man was out with his father searching the Eel River by boat for driftwood. They would locate something they thought might be a person near Robbins Island, but they weren't even sure. They would contact the sheriff, and deputies would use a jet boat to recover what was identified as partially clothed remains. It would eventually be determined to belong to a man around 5'10" who was 35 to 45, who had likely drowned. But no one from Northern California had been reported missing in that area, and they hit a wall. DNA would make its way into CODIS, but no one else had submitted their own DNA, so there was no match. As I always like to mention, if you're missing somebody, really you should submit your DNA if NamUs. There is a link below this video on how to do that. It's only searched by the Missing Person program. You don't have to worry about it being intrusive otherwise. The 3 main means of identification are fingerprints, dental films, and DNA. And they were actually able to pull one print, but it wasn't in the system either. They very much tried to identify him, but it just wasn't possible at the time. Once again, Othram Labs has come in to save the day. It's not usually normally possible to get DNA when someone is in the water for so long, or at least it's very hard. They've established procedures that take time and work, but they did it here again. Funding in this case was provided by Roads to Justice, which is part of the Ford Foundation Center for Social Justice. The Ford Center for Social Justice offers grants. A quick fact about this is that the Ford Foundation, it was funded by Henry Ford and his wife in the 1940s with stock, and no fundraising has ever been done since. It was this grant and Othram Labs that led to Jeffery Todd Sydow once again having a name. The DNA they were able to get led to a possible sister in Missouri, and she was the key. Jeffery was born in 1963, but he lost contact with his family in the mid-1990s. And of course, he was found in 1998, which leaves a little bit of a gap that could be filled and help the family understand what happened by contacting authorities with what they know of his movements. His sister has looked for and tried to reach him over the years. Because he wasn't in contact with them, he wasn't reported missing. They didn't know where he even was. Jeffrey's family is working with Humboldt County to move him for burial for the rest of their family, reunited at last. Jeffery Todd Sydow went unidentified for 24 years. Had he lived, he would be 59 years old today. As always, thank you so much for watching. The current goal for the channel is 20,000 subscribers. Please consider subscribing and hitting the bell so you don't miss new episodes. Thank you so much to everybody commenting. Even with just an emoji, it really has made a big difference. Without it, there isn't a channel, so thank you guys so much. Take care of yourselves and each other.